Welcome to The Knock, a podcast where we dive into real stories of real people who have experienced life before Christ and the transformations that come when they answer the knock. Whether you're rooted in faith, feeling distant, or still unsure what you believe, our prayer is that these conversations stir something inside you. Every story we share points back to the same truth. When you open the door, everything changes. Let's get into it. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of The Knock podcast. Today, we are here honored to have Aaron Shafer. Aaron, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Good. Here alongside my co-host, little brother Barry.
Yeah, what's up, man? We got some don't have that too much leg room with all these tall guys in this room right now. So
Yeah. Everybody says, everybody that meets us, they're like, you look smaller on the podcast.
I think it's these chairs.
Yeah.
These chairs, we definitely sink into the chairs. Like that chair, you sit up like.
You
have a choice.
Postured up a little
Yeah.
bit.
You don't have a choice.
Yeah.
There's no good way to be here.
Yeah, this one we squish down, and then it has high arms.
Yeah. So we just look like little guys just sitting here.
Yeah, two
Not little guys. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're all, 6'3" plus, I think,
for
right
sure.
now.
Yep.
But, yeah. Well, Aaron, nice to have you on, man.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate you being flexible with us and getting out here. So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So, born and raised out here in Moscow Mills. So, about a 10-minute drive from here, actually, through the back roads, which is great for getting here. But, I was born and raised in Moscow Mills, my youngest of four brothers. My oldest brother was a calf roper, professional for a little bit, and then I had my middle brothers played professional baseball as well. So a lot of athletics in our family.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time at the ballpark. Mother and father still together, still live in the same house that I grew up in. I actually built a house about 100 yards from them after all the travels, all the chasing of baseball and all that. Built about 100 yards from their front door. So
Nice.
Raising a son and two daughters, and life is good. We just got back from New York last night. My kids, my older two, were singing in a competition in Boston, and then we went over to New York for a few days to sightsee and everything. And so I got to go experience that and realize why I live in Missouri.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
100%.
That place is something.
Yeah.
I'm glad I went. I don't care if I ever go back.
Yeah.
I was telling my buddies before I left, I was like, I live in Missouri on purpose. Like, I didn't accidentally move home. Like, I moved home when I had kids.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is where you raise kids.
Yeah. Dude, so I went to West Point, which was 45 minutes, right there on the Hudson, 45 minutes from the city.
Okay.
And we'd go out there every once in a while, just this is pre-saved. We go out to the bars or
Sure.
I'd take Molly. My first date with Molly, I went big. So Molly's my wife. She went to West Point as well. My first date with Molly was I took her and I went in debt because of this date, but we went to see Mary Poppins on Broadway. And I like say like we're row 1 or 2. Like I could see the sweat from like the actors and
Nice.
So I took her there, and then I took her to this the 21 Club, which was far out of my price range. But yeah, agree 100%.
That's what you got to do.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
You got a lady to impress.
Yeah, after the first date, that's probably when she decided she was going to marry me. And look at us now. We're, almost 9 years married. But yeah, dude. So I completely understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Go there a couple times. You're like, yeah, I don't care if I ever go back there.
Yeah, it's a lot. Man.
It is.
And, I mean, the 9/11 memorial was just, you spend an hour there, 2 hours there. It's not enough time.
Yeah.
You just can't take in all that's there to take in.
Yeah.
I got to see my son and my daughter before they went, and I was like, listen, take your time. Take as much time as they will give you to take in that those are just people going to work, man.
Yeah.
People they're honoring there were not. I mean, they honored a lot of the firemen and stuff, and that's rightfully so. What they walked into. When you realize like some of the footage they had, like dude, they rolled up those steps knowing that it was less than 50-50. Like they were coming back down them steps. That like to just like to stand at the base of those buildings gave me anxiety. I can't imagine running up one that's burning.
Yeah.
It just like anyway, so it just is one of those experiences, man, where you just take it in. But the rest of the time I was there, I just felt for the people who are there. They're in a rat race. Like
it's
they
fast
can't get off
paced.
the hamster wheel, man.
Yeah,
you can't. It's you just feel it on them.
Yeah,
just want to give people hugs, man.
Yeah,
it's like I don't want to get stabbed, but I just want to give this guy a hug. Like, man, this is okay. You can leave. You know, you can. 30 minutes, you can be out of this.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah. You could be. I mean, uptown New York is just a colder version of Missouri.
Yeah,
right? Like it's just farmlands and stuff.
That was a big difference I noticed from moving, even from California. And we weren't in LA. We were on the outskirts. We were in like the Inland Empire, but still, it's like traffic and people are rushing everywhere. It's like I'm an aggressive driver. I've definitely toned it down, but I'm an aggressive driver because of that. You have to be, or you get ran off the road.
Yeah. So I trained in Fresno for 6 weeks before I went to with the Braves that year. And I trained in Fresno, and it's not nearly obviously as large. But I remember being at stoplights, and it was like squalling time. And when that light went green, you hit the gas pedal.
Yeah. I think of Hans. Like he's
insane, bro.
Yeah. We have my mom's husband. His name's Hans. So he came from Germany, so driving on the Autobahn probably 1,000 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Then he comes to California. I'm not kidding. If somebody sits at the light for like 0.5 seconds, he's honking.
Yeah.
Like it is
insanity.
His reaction is like, dude, you should be a race car driver. Like, he's like, ha, right when it turns green.
He's like going in and out.
There's no lane. Riding in an Uber in New York is like, wow, those lanes, that's a suggestion at best.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's wild.
It is.
But they make it work.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well, glad you got back here and enough time to get on and everything. So one of the questions we like to just ask at the beginning is, what is God currently doing in your life right now?
Yeah. So, man, I am. I might be the perfect or the worst guy for that conversation right now. Because I literally 2 weeks ago, I've been in a job for a few years and really good paying job. I went to the Realign event because I was like, man, I just feel like it was just the company was getting larger and larger. And it was just, when companies get larger, you get very stuck in, this is my job. My job's done. That's all you do. And I'm like, man, I was used to, you didn't stop till the job was done. You handed off. You made sure handoffs were clean. You did all those things. And I was just starting to kind of feel dead with the job. And went to Realign, and I was like, I'd never felt more alive than being in that room with people seeking, seeking true improvement, not for financial gain specifically, right?
Yeah.
Like it was more for just individual and family growth. And you heard it in everybody's kind of testimony around the room. It was amazing to be there.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I just been, Matt and I have been talking a little more seriously about, what it would look like to work with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the guts to say a stupid prayer, and my wife and I prayed, so I have a witness on the prayer.
Yeah.
I was like, Lord, if this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing, you're gonna have to make it really easy. And because I'm kind of stupid, so you're gonna have to make this easy. And 11 a.m. the next day, they put us on a call. I was on a call with like 92 other. I think there's 92 of us total. Got let go.
Wow.
So just trimming down of the corporate folks. I mean, it's pretty normal. Like, it takes a lot of people to start standing up the systems. Once the systems are stood up, you don't need that many people to manage it.
Right.
So it made sense to me. It was hard, because I really liked the guys I worked with. But I mean, I think my initial reaction was I sat back in my chair and I just praised God. Like, I was like, all right, man, like, that's a prayer answered.
Yeah.
I wish that came with a set.
What's next?
Yeah. But as we get into this story, my story, I think you're going to see that this is kind of what happens to me.
Yeah.
Because this is not the first time that this has happened. So.
Dude, that's not, it's I can only imagine that there's challenges that come with it, right? Like not knowing, hey, what is so that was step one. What's 2, 3, 4? You're right. Like not knowing that, but man, you're right. What a answer to prayer, and like praise God for that.
You don't get that very often.
No,
like most time you're praying and you're like, oh, I think that maybe that's God answering my. Like you gotta really look hard for God answering your prayers. But man, that was like 11 a.m.
Yeah.
You don't have a job no more.
Yeah.
And I remember calling, and this is real confirmation. The Holy Spirit's like this. I called my wife, and I knew she helps at our family butcher shop right now. But otherwise, I told her to come home last year. Basically it was like, hey, we don't need this. Like, we're good. Like, I want you to be a mom and a wife. Like, we got a lot to do, and our kids are all running. So anyway, she's been home and she's helping over at our family butcher shop, and I call her and I'm like, so remember that prayer from last night? It's like, I don't have a job anymore. And her response was just like, oh, okay, well, good. And I was like,
wow.
Checking you're like, what?
Yeah.
But you kind of know then, because like that's, I think for me, God sends me lots of confirmations, like in the people I trust.
Yeah.
And, that's just kind of what has happened so far. And just my wife still really isn't all that uneasy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
it's been 2 weeks. That's, that's a long time,
is.
but she's just been kind of solid with it. Like, what are you looking at? How's this? And she's just calm. And I'm like, thank God she's calm, because I get anxious, like I'm like, where do you want me here? Like, is you gonna throw something in my face or? So anyway, it's been interesting. So I actually turned down a job yesterday, which was like what I thought I wanted to do. Like, it was an opportunity to build another company. Yeah. And build it to sell and be able to be a CEO, and had all the things that I wanted, I thought I wanted. But as I prayed on it, and talking with Matt Granado, I was talking with my buddy Nate Victor, and he's the guy I do the 5 a.m. stuff with. And then, God has sent me these. One of my other friends through that morning group, 2 of them are both. I have 2 CEOs. It's crazy. I didn't realize it till right now. Yeah. But like, I have 2 different guys that are CEOs and owners, and Matt Granados, and then there are these guys that are just so far ahead of me in business, and they are kind of like, is that what you want to do? That's like, they were like just saying like, hey man, it's cool, like that's surprising to us. I'm like, well, what's surprising about it? And having a real dialogue about that, because I don't presume to really know what it is I'm doing. I think we can fool ourselves into thinking we know. Yeah. And then I since I've been following God, man, I'm increasingly getting comfortable saying, I really don't know. I'm just trying to do the thing that's in front of me to do, which right now is fundraise for the American Legion team. I got to coach this summer, and that's the kind of the next thing to do right now is I got that fundraiser in a week and a half, and that's what I'm focusing on right now. And then talking with Granados and trying to figure out how we get some sales in and do some stuff.
Yeah, man. I mean, praise God. Like when I first met you, when I walked in here, like you seem light, and nobody. I wouldn't have thought like, hey, you lost your job. It's like that's awesome, man. Especially the way it came. It was like prayer, answered prayer, and now it's like, God, I'm open. It seems like you're open and obedient to whatever he wants to drive you to next, and that's a great place to be.
Yeah, it was kind of odd because I thought the first thing was the thing I just turned down yesterday, but even the guy who was trying to hire me was like, "Hey, dude, if you're doing it for me," because he was the CEO of the company that I just we sold, and he became the chairman of the board. So he's still with that company. Yeah. But he has other businesses, and he's like, hey man, like I could use you here, and I was like, man, I'd love to help Dan again. Like God sent him into my life, like I really feel like we're not done yet, and that's what so I was just kind of like, okay, that's the direction, and I didn't question it at all until I was like, well, if you do this without wise counsel, if you read in the Bible about wise counsel and having it, and what it really means to a man to have it. And it's like, well, if I just go making decisions without taking said wise counsel, I don't think I'm doing this right. And after talking with all of them, it was like confirmations across the board. And even with my wife, it's like, is that really the opportunity? Is that just an opportunity, So it's not always obedience.
For sure. Yeah.
So
well, and having peace in the face of uncertainty, I think that's a biblical theme that you see time and time again, and I think that's really cool that that's where you're at. And the wise counsel thing, I think that is something actually we haven't really talked about on the podcast too much, but it is so important, and it's important because we could be tricked and disillusioned very easily. Right. There's a reason why, like, it is not, yes, you go to God for things and you pray to God, but you seek wise counsel in addition to that. Right. And there's a reason why we're told to do that. Yep. Because if you're just in a room with your own thoughts, you could be praying to God, and the enemy can throw just a little curveball at you, or a little like, hey, are you sure about this? And then your own mind can start going down rabbit holes. So I think that's awesome that you have, that reinforcement of wise counsel.
I really see it as a sign of the Holy Spirit being active, right? And being there. So I've just seen it over and over in my walk. For instance, I did a talk at the church a few Tuesdays ago. I don't know. We did a contend series. Matt asked me to do living the Christian life. What is it to live the Christian life? And first of all, I was like, oh, wrong guy. I don't know, man. I'm like feeling my way through this.
Yeah.
So then Tuesday's my one day with my daughter. She has show choir. I got to run her. I got to get her to that. I got to get my son. My son's got a basketball game that night. And I'm like, how can I go tell these guys, hey, this is what it is to be a Christian and be a good father and do these things and take care of your family. And then I'm missing all my kids' stuff to be here so I can be on the stage, so I can get some attention, Mm-hmm. And so I was just like, man, I don't know. And I told Matt, I'm like, I got Nate Victor. I'm like, Nate Victor can do this talk in his sleep. I was like, this man lives it. I was like, he's like, okay, Aaron, that's fine. He goes, but have you prayed on this? And I was like, yeah, not really, and I hadn't, Mm-hmm. So then I didn't pray on it, and kind of the same prayer. It was Tuesday night. We prayed. My wife and I prayed together. And then Wednesday we have group. And my wife, when we go around asking for prayer requests, my wife is like, my husband needs to make a decision. Because he's got less, like, if he's going to do this sermon, he's got 6 days now, to get it ready. And so she's like, Aaron needs to make a decision, because if he's not going to do it, then someone else needs as much time as they can get to get a sermon ready for these guys. Yeah. And literally in that prayer session, like, one of the ladies in the group, one of the other wives, she just looked at me and she's like, you have to talk. You have to, like, people look to you, and you have influence, and your kids are going to have other games and they have other things going on. And she's like, they will understand, like, you have to do this. Like, and she goes, and you don't really want that microphone for your attention. Like, you're not doing this for you. Yeah. Like, you're not building a ministry, like, and it was kind of a bludgeoning, really, but it was like you could see her speaking, but the Holy Spirit was just like, there was your confirmation. But by the time she's done speaking, my wife's in tears, because, like, once again, man, when you see God answer your prayers, it's just like, it's humbling to your core. So yeah, I've just seen it over and over again. Yeah. So yeah, man,
that's awesome, dude. That discernment piece, and sometimes, I mean, that's one of the more challenging things of this journey is. Mm-hmm. Being able to discern and understand. And it sounds like just God has a distinct way of working through that with you. Yeah. Like, I think all of us will probably have different ways that God communicates. Yeah. And I think that's really cool.
I think it's also where I am. Like I don't get the message and just roll. So many dudes I'm around, like, they get the message, they just get on path, and I'm like, that is so cool. I'm like, are you sure? Yeah. Is this not me? Are you sure this isn't me? Like,
Yeah.
and I get uneasy about it because I don't ever want to take over again. Like I did a really poor job.
Mm-hmm.
When I came to Christ, it was on those realms, down that, like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. You have to take over.
Yeah.
I've really lost control.
Well, let's get into that. Right?
Yeah,
like that's
great.
that's
Yeah.
the
that's the whole podcast.
That's the podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like you're in a phase of life where you're working through things and you're continuing to, we're all continuing that sanctification process, but go back to, hey, like, who was Aaron before Christ?
Yeah. So I was a ball player, man. I really embraced that was who I was.
Yep.
Going back, I was raised Catholic. Just to kind of start at the childhood. I've listened to your guys' podcast a lot. It kind of always goes back to like how were you raised, how to go through. And, I really enjoyed the last one with the theology.
Kevin?
Yeah. That was really, really strong, man. It was. I mean, just because you can get so caught up in all the, like, your head knowledge can get there. Where you're like, man, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and then your heart starts getting changed. You're like, no, wait, I don't want to stop doing that.
Right.
But anyway, so I was in 8th grade. I did all the things, Catholic school, PSR, and I was pretty headstrong, and I knew what I wanted. Like we went on a retreat. They did like the Stations of the Cross on that retreat and all this stuff. And I remember they had us write letters to ourselves. And like in that letter, I was like, I'm going to be a 3-sport All-American. I'm going to get drafted out of high school. Like I knew where I was headed. Like I knew, or, in my head, I knew what was happening. And so I get confirmed Catholic, and the first thing I went to my mom. I'm like, so I'm confirmed. She's like, yeah, I'm an adult. Yep. I'm not going to church anymore. Ever. And she was like,
How old were you?
I was in 8th grade. Yeah. So you get confirmed in 8th grade for the PSR kids. I don't know how it
is that like, and I don't really know. I was baptized Catholic, and that was about it. Like we didn't go.
Yeah. So you do your first communion, like I think it's around 1st grade or something like that, and then you go through some other. I don't remember all the things. I'm embarrassed, but by the time you're in 8th grade, you get confirmed, and you do. They actually give you another name like this. So I took like Saint Sebastian, and that becomes like your 4th name. I don't understand really any of it, to be honest. I went through it, but I didn't go through it. I didn't listen. I wasn't paying attention. I was just doing what I had to do. Yep. I just knew that at the end they said you're an adult, and I was like, I'm an adult. That comes with some stuff, and I just at that point, I remember when I asked that, and my mom, is funny. We just talked about it, and she's talking about how she felt like she failed. I'm like, Mom, you need to listen to my testimony. Like, I believe like that she had to honor what, if you believe in God, like they say, she believes, she goes to church, she's adamant and always has been, but like she went to the sister and was like, what am I supposed to do? And she's like, he's an adult in the church. It is our belief that it's his decision. Mm-hmm. If that's the path he's on, that's the path he's on. So she took counsel, right? And she let me go. And I was on the long path then, from there on, man, I got big. Like my pride, my capabilities, I was chasing, and I was succeeding at almost everything I put my hand to, and but just so arrogant, man. Like I just never felt like I could get there. I had never felt like I never felt good enough. And I had a father he knew what I was capable of and knew how to get me there. Yeah. A lot of times he got me there through anger. Yeah. And through pushing the right button, and there was very few games that, like, even as a kid, like that my dad didn't make me cry. Like he would make me cry, because then I would take over the game. Yeah. And he's like, why do I gotta make you so mad you want to kill me, and then you'll play? Right. I'm like, I thought I was playing fine before that. I thought I was having fun. I was always the best player on the field, I thought, And according to most of my friends, that was the case, you know?
Right.
So it's just such a strange thing. But, man, I got just full of it, you know? And I had lots of people. I think when you look back and you see all the ways that God tried to call you, I was like, God, like knocking on my door a little bit. And I was like, nah, you know, I'm going, I got this.
Yeah.
I got this. And it even got so far, like, when guys would pray or, you know, they do the point to the sky thing, we'd just make fun of them like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, bro, it's all about him, you know. And then, like, you know, you make fun of the guys praying on the field before. It just, for me, it was all performative. And I was like, whatever, bro. Like, I know you. You're not a God-fearing man. Like, I know you in the locker room. I know you out at the party, you know.
Yeah.
And it was really easy for me to grab that flaw in somebody and make that God's flaw.
Right.
I think that's the like what do they say, like the hardest part about Christianity is Christians, you know, like it's we're broken, and you learn to see past that. Like you learn that we're all trying to figure it out, and we all have bad days, and we all have bad sentences, so, things we shouldn't have said. So anyway, that's what it turned into. I got through high school. I got drafted out of high school, so everything looked good.
Yeah.
The Indians drafted me in the 16th round, and we negotiated all summer. They followed me around every Legion game for a while. It was just nerve-wracking. And came down to the end of it, and they offered me like $5,000 more than I was offered on the day of the draft. I'm like, I went through all this for $5,000. I was like, kind of middle fingered. I was like, you just don't think I'll go to college, which was pretty accurate on their part because I did not want to go.
Right.
But I was like, no, I'll go. Like, I can pass classes, you know. So I went there, and I was All-American my freshman year, and played Team USA, got invited to Team USA. Did not make that team, but you know, just being invited is a pretty, you know, your top 20 in the nation for that. That was pretty cool. Played with like David Price and Pedro Alvarez and all these dudes that played 15-year big league careers, you know. So there's a lot of guys there. Brandon Crawford was a guy that was a really cool dude. But anyway, so I got to do that, and then finished out, got to my junior year, got drafted in the second round by the Cubs, and then went on and played 5 years. Shoot, man. Then I opened a baseball business after that.
Yeah.
And man, we were running that. I guess we were in that for like 8 or 9 years, and I was working 2 or 3 jobs. Like I'd work nights at TVS up here in Winsville. I worked as a union painter. I was trying to pick up anything I could. I just figured if we were behind on bills, I'd just get another job, just work more. And I got to the end of that, man. I was at the end of myself.
Yeah.
I had done everything I thought I could do. You need to go.
Huh?
You need to. Oh, okay.
Oh, no. I was just moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no, I just got to the end of myself on all that. And I had met these folks from Ohio through mutual friends with my son at school. And we had got to be friends. And one night we were together. To be honest, we were drinking at the house. And they had kind of watched me walk for about 2 years. And his wife, Nate's wife, Miranda, kind of looked at me at about 1 o'clock in the morning, and she's like, "Hey, listen, I see you chasing all this stuff, and I think you need Jesus." I think it wasn't that hand wavy like you need Jesus. It was like, I think what you're actually chasing is Christ. Like you're actually trying to orient yourself towards something that you know is bigger and better than you, but you're pointing at all the wrong things. And I was not ready to hear that.
Yeah.
And I asked her to leave. You know,
Really?
I was like, get out. I was like,
was it that like abrupt? Like
I was like, yeah, have a good night. Yeah, I was like, I opened my door and I was like,
really,
that's enough.
So what? At that point in time in your life, it sounds like, as you're talking through this, was there almost like a resentment towards it, or what started to stir?
Yeah, so man, my wife got baptized, 6-7 years ago, and before that meeting, like at the church they were all going to, and my wife just basically wouldn't go because I wasn't going to go. I made sure I worked on Sundays. I would make sure I had training.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it was as much as I think for me more than anything, it was just like I didn't like the people. You know, it was always if somebody led with Christianity, you know, it was like you're never going to get paid. You know, like you just like can't. You know, it just always seemed like that to me. My father we've ran a business since '65. You know, and Dad would always make the joke of a teacher or a preacher. You know, get your money up front because it's always going to be a mess.
Yeah.
You know, it's like. They're always, you know, and you hate to be that way, but just, I mean, stereotypes happen and you're like, then you just kind of buy into it. And then it's easy to be flippant with it. And also then the people that were kind of touting their faith, you know, if you have any problem with them, you immediately are holding them to a higher standard than everybody else. And that was me. Yeah. If they told me Christian, I was like, well, this guy's.
So you're almost like looking for
expecting perfection.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's what I was doing more than anything. If I had to put my finger on one thing, I think that was it. And honestly, just I had never read the Bible. I was in the Catholic Church. You don't read the Bible there. Like you get prayers, you memorize them.
Yeah. You
regurgitate them. You do confession with the priest, and that's kind of it. I mean.
Yeah.
And the priest kind of tells you, you do your penance, which is more prayers. And, you know, you don't connect with it, at least not for me, you know. And now actually when I go to Catholic weddings or whatever, I actually enjoy them a lot now because I understand their rituals now. Like everything they're doing is it's like it's obedience. Like kneel, sit, stand. You're doing that in obedience. Like you don't need to be told why. You do it because it's. Yeah, you know, and that's what I think. I think it's kind of beautiful, but yeah, I didn't get it. I didn't understand. And when she said that, I didn't like it. Yeah, you know. And then I was kind of like, why didn't I like that? You know, I always thought a lot, but it really worked on me after that.
Yeah, I think that's a like what you're talking about. I think we run into a lot with people that don't understand Christianity. They do expect the Christian to like we hold a lot of weight on our shoulders for people that don't understand it because there is perfection. Like basically the standard is perfection. Right. And obviously if you know the gospel, like perfection is not a piece of it and it's not required. Right. But as you become more sanctified in your faith, you are required to bear fruit.
Yes.
So you should be a light when you're walking around. So if you are saying you're a Christian and you can be a stumbling block.
Yes.
And you don't want to be a stumbling block. There's a lot of negativity. I mean, I've been going through Romans and you don't want to be that stumbling block. Yeah. You want to be the light and you want to walk around and people look at you and be like, there's something different about that guy.
Right.
But that's a big piece.
You want to be able to speak to it, as well. Like when you're talking about Romans, like that's one thing that's been convicting me lately is not being able to point to.
Yeah, well,
I'm talking about in Scripture. I don't have that yet.
Yeah,
that kind of bothers me.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that a lot. Sometimes it was rooted in like pride because we wanted to know more so we can do that stuff like that.
Last week's conversation was perfect for that, right? Like, Kevin was talking
get
about
into it. Yeah.
Like, you could start using it as, you know, I used to do my studies to be able to argue with my Catholic friend.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So like I learned a lot. I learned a lot about the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about just, you know, like early Christianity and the history of it and stuff like that. I got into the Word and like I started like but all of it was not through the heart posture of saying like, hey, I'm going to work on myself. It was like, I'm about to win this argument.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But
I love it.
Yeah, my wife, very similar upbringing. And yeah, she grew up Catholic and her family's very, you know, strong Catholic family. Yeah. But for whatever reason, it didn't really resonate with her. It was a lot of what you were talking about. Like she understood, she knew the recited prayers. She knew like what it was to be a Catholic, but she didn't know the difference between that and actually having a true intimate relationship with Christ.
Right.
And when that clicked for her, like she melted. Like there was a shell around her, and it began to melt because she started to understand the true love of God, and obviously the reverence of God as well. But it wasn't just a ritual; it was more of a relationship. So, I mean, I've been going through that with my wife the last couple of years and understanding
really hard
that
because you got to break down a lot of what your whole life has been.
Yeah,
you know, and you don't not that any of us know actively what we're standing on.
Yeah, but
when you start chipping away at somebody's core or their foundations, like they it's like they can feel it. Like whoa, we're not going to start reading this Bible and changing things. It's
yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. Like it has to change.
Yeah,
and most of the stuff you say has to change. Like for me, what things I've said have to change. My wife's been like, thank God. She's probably been praying for it for 10 years.
Yeah.
So that's been easy, I think, on that front.
Yeah.
But there are things that are in your life like that you just like, this can't be in our lives anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah, you cannot be. And it's funny because you even see it with like people that you're like, oh, like they're leaders in business and industry and stuff like that. But there's always like an area of somebody's life, like when you really get to know somebody, there's always an area of their life where it's like, hey, I might be really adaptable and flexible in my business strategy, but then hey, if you start touching this over here, I'm not willing to move.
Right.
And there's a lot of people like that, and it's like I think holistically to grow in faith as an individual, like you have to be willing. There's nothing in there that all comes from pride.
That's right.
Right? Like that desire or lack of a desire to change. It all comes from pride and this like contentment and comfortability that is not always rooted in Christ. So in order to be allow yourself to be sanctified and let the Holy Spirit work in you, sometimes like everything has to go. That's right. All of it.
Yeah.
And that's a cool point. So let's go back. So you open the door and you're like, it's 1:00. I'm having some beers. Like,
this is not appropriate. I was like, this isn't appropriate. Like, were you like at my house? Would you say you were appalled? Would you use I was offended, dude. I was pissed. I was mad. And I loved these people, right?
Yeah.
We'd had so much fun together, and they've been a blessing.
Yeah.
But I was like, yeah, you need to leave. And it's funny because Nate would always joke with Miranda, like, you keep running off people I like, and he thought after that, like, I was going to stop hanging out with him. But I was like, nah, I was just not in a place to hear that, but it really went to work on me, which was odd.
Yeah.
And it wasn't long after that, a friend of mine had been going to, not quite family, but close enough, like they live less than a mile. They'd been just doing a Bible study in his shed.
Yeah.
And
you said Bible study in a shed?
In a shed, yeah. This is Lincoln County stuff.
Yeah,
man.
This is a Moscow.
You need to come out, man. Yeah. This is dudes with dirt on their boots, that can't pronounce the words, that they're reading. That's the Bible study.
That'd be a fun group to go through the genealogy stuff with.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah. No, we didn't know any of the words. We couldn't pronounce any of the names. We were all. It was pretty fun. I called it, it was like stumbling forward stupidly with a bunch of dipshits with mud on their boots, and we didn't care. Like it was like you were safe to be stupid in that room, and we were all fathers, and but we were pursuing it wholeheartedly, which was really cool to be in a room. And we were reading this book called "In a Pit with a Lion on a Snowy Day."
So real quick, what was the timeline between that
couldn't have been a couple months, a few months.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you went from being, I like the word appalled for whatever.
Yeah.
You went from being appalled that somebody brought up like, hey dude, like you might need Jesus, to 2 months, the Holy Spirit working on you enough to having Bible studies in a shed.
Yeah.
Lincoln County.
So I had some situational things going on too. So I was I had torn abdomen in college I had re-torn it. Actually playing sand volleyball right over here, I tore it, and I couldn't work. I could barely do anything. Torn abdomen hurts no matter what you do.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't labor. I couldn't do any of the things. I was at wit's end with the business side. I was drinking way too much.
Yep.
And I wasn't doing anything stupid, right? But like, I think people think that you have to be doing, like, you have to, wreck your car and kill somebody before you realize how much you're really, really drinking too much. But like, I was really drinking too much and reliant on it to sleep. Between that and like THC, I have Crohn's disease, so it's like this doctor told me THC will help, which it conceivably did a little, but it became a crutch really quick. Like, and so I was using both those things. It's like that you just don't, like, when you get out of it and you look back. But so all that's going on, like in that same 2-month period, I basically came to a point where I had taken on a partner at the business, and things were just getting difficult between us. He had a way that he wanted to move the business, and I was just like, I can't. I just didn't want to go that way. And when that time came up, we went back to church one time. I was like, it was always a good message. If you ever been to North Road, Matt Bardick always brings a good message. I'd always find myself when I went to my wife's baptism, when I went for my brother's baptism years before that or whatever, like the sermon would always make me cry. It would always open up my heart a little bit, and I'd be like, all right, well, I just move on with my life because I'm kind of a knothead. Yeah. So when I pray like that for a reason. Like I'm kind of stupid. You gotta really beat me over the head with it. So that happened in that 2-month slot, because I was like getting like I physically couldn't do the things I wanted to do to make ends meet. And so we went to that thing, and they're reading that book, and it talked about how there's no prayer too small for God. It's kind of a big point. It talks about this like really rare, like this really small miracle that happens where God, like this guy, I don't even remember what spot it is in the book anymore, but he throws a stick out, and the guy puts an axe head back on the end of a stick. You guys know this story?
I don't think so.
I should be able to recite that, but I can't. But anyway, it's this really small miracle. But basically, what that meant, like, it was like that's like it's an axe head for a guy it was a borrowed axe, which meant like he would have been a slave to the guy who he borrowed it from, and this works. Right. So he's just distraught that he lost this thing in the river. And God raises this thing, puts the axe back together, and it's like, what's that story about? And like basically the book kind of goes about that, and it talks about that. And I was in that group of guys, and I was telling them, I'm like, this is getting bad, and I don't know, somewhere in the middle of it, I don't have dates or anything in my head anymore, but I just went to that same spot where Miranda spoke those words to me, and I just went to my knees right there and was like, God, you have to take over. I've lost. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to turn. But if this baseball thing isn't what I'm supposed to be doing, you show me, I'll walk. I don't know what to do. And I felt no better. I felt no better. I felt no worse. I just cried, and I tried to get myself together before my family got home. And I guess it was 48 hours later, and my partner and I were, he had put me in a position that I knew, as well as I know I'm sitting here with you guys right now. Like I know that it was God saying, you said if I showed you, you'd walk. And he was showing me that this is never going to end. You're never going to get off this. And I just looked at him in the midst of a little argument we were having, and I was like, hey, I think we're done here. And I shook his hand, and I walked out the door, and I never went back. And I didn't have a plan, so I couldn't labor, so I didn't have anything, so I just like took the first job I could get. And it was an awful job. It was like calling cold calling people, like 100 phone calls a day, just getting told no
Yeah.
all day.
Yeah.
And turns out that ain't for me, man. Like
Yeah, we've all.
We know that. We know that feeling.
it crushed me.
It's brutal. Yeah.
It crushed me. And so I was just determined. I was like, well, if we're doing this God thing, like, so I was doing the verse of the day every day, and then it has that guided prayer section.
Yeah.
I would do that in my headphones on the way to work. You know, I'm in a borrowed van, you know, my parents' van, driving to work. I'm making like $1,100 a month. I borrowed money from everyone, it seemed like, and just to make ends meet, just to pay the mortgage, and you know, just kept praying and kept trying to learn. And then this guy, Dan Kennedy, calls me. He was a guy that I'd called. I'd worked with this kid, and I knew he'd been a CEO. So I was like, hey, man, I'm looking to make a career change. He's like, what do you want to do? I'm like, I don't know. Like, just let me know if you hear of anybody needing someone. Yeah. You know, and lo and behold, he called me in December of 22. And in January 23, I put in my 2 weeks. Turns out it wasn't that kind of job. Like when I put in my 2 weeks, he's like, no, just go on home. I'm like, oh, I need to make another check. You know? And he's like, nah, this ain't that kind of job, man. Like it's a relationships job. So I really can't afford to have someone who's on their way out, you know? And I got it. Like the dude he was really good to me. Tony was really good to me. Yeah. But you know, he's like, but you got to leave today, you know? And I was like, oh no. Well, then the company that I got on with was a startup. So, you know, like the kickoff kind of kept getting pushed. Well, I had ended up having 6 weeks without a check. And we were not in a place where that could happen. But the bills got paid. And somebody would always come up. Or, you know, we had actually, I got qualified for it's called BAT, but... it's a baseball assistance program, and they paid our mortgage for 3 months. It's just amazing things like that. That just kind of people just kept showing up for us, and then I just kind of kept leaning in. So I actually went through and did the Exodus. I read through the book of Exodus and really connected with the Old Testament at the time. And then, you know, that's kind of that. That's where that anchoring verse kind of comes from for me. It's like, these are not idle words. They're your life. By them you'll live long in the land you're crossing the Jordan to possess. And it's like, so I'm crossing Jordan. It's like I'm going into this whole new everything. It's like, what do I do now? No, do what got you here. And just keep leaning on me. And so that's where I'm at again, man. Like, I just, once again, I told you this is reoccurring, bro. Like this has been, it's been 3 years, or I guess 4 now, but this has been what it's like for me. I don't know how else to really say it, but I'm just on the ride, man. And I found a home at Hyperfiber, and I got promoted 3 times in 2 years, and was making more money than I ever dreamed of, you know. It was wild. And then I found myself, I was really good at building processes and getting things to work, like getting, you know, sales to work with, marketing to work with, operations to get everything up and rolling. Like, let's go, you know. So it definitely wasn't wasted time, you know. Like I know why God put me there. It's like, man, he opened my mind to so many things, but I just kept pursuing him. I really kept pursuing him, and then going to the meetings and listening. It's amazing what you can learn when you listen, when you're not predisposed, you know, like you're preoccupied with other things. If you just be in a room, you know, you can learn so much. So that's what I've done the last few years. And so I've been able to take kind of the baseball experience and apply it to what business looks like.
Thanks for tuning into The Knock. If this story moved you or made you think, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs hope. Follow us on social media at The Knock Podcast for more content. And remember, God is always knocking. The question is, will you answer?